The goal of our project is establishing more awareness in the church on the topics of mental illness and substance addiction in Canada. The three main contexts that we highlight in our project are mental illness, trauma, and homelessness, and how those three contexts are correlated and are also related to the issue of substance abuse. Addiction statistics in Canada estimate that 21% of Canadians, which is about 6 million people, will meet the criteria for addiction in their lifetime. Our aim is to raise awareness of the priority of the church reaching out and providing hospitality for individuals afflicted by the aforementioned issues. The context we're speaking about is a church building or a church with access to a building that can hold at least 50 people. In this video, we will highlight the two programs that we are encouraging the church to run with the goal of building loving relationships and sharing the gospel with the members of society that we are highlighting.
Okay, let's talk about Plan 1. So our Plan 1 is based on the template of Celebrate Recovery, using the materials of Celebrate Recovery to launch our plan. Starting off, to get more volunteers and get more people on board of this mission through bulletin announcement, flyers, sermon series, set up information table during the church service, and creating information brochure. People in the church have more understanding on what we're looking for. And on top of that, our small group Bible studies could touch on scriptures that is relating to the topic of serving and hospitality, what it means to be Christ-like. So the next thing we'll talk about training. It is great to have volunteers that has secular recovery experience, something like AA. And we want to focus on looking for volunteers that can understand what it means to be humble and good at building relationships without any judgment, to help all the volunteers to be in the same page in terms of what we're expecting. So the program consists of two types of groups, the large groups. The small groups are considered as step studies. So the format of the step studies, usually it opens with prayer and then introduction, reading a Celebrate Recovery small group guidelines. Leaders will focus on the principles, and the group will basically take turns answering the questions on a booklet. In the end, when all the answers are being answered, we'll wrap up in prayer request. In terms of the large group, almost like a Sunday service, which includes worship, and then reading the steps, and then teaching the lesson through testimonies. Then it will move on to serenity prayer. In some specific nights, there will be something like a chip night, celebrate, not have a relapse. And after that, we will go into an open share group. If we were to have any newcomers, get to know the newcomers and explain what the program is going to look like. For example, confidentiality, or have a mutual understanding within the group so that it can be a safe place for people to share. So now we'll talk about the launching method. So there's phase 1. Phase 1 is less than 10 participants. Usually during the open share group, there'll be a few questions to answer during the open group regarding to the testimony that was presented before open share group to help contemplate on different subjects. In the end, there will be a prayer wrap up. Usually there will be snacks. People can get to socialize. So let's talk about the launching method. There is phase 1, where it consists of less than 10 participants. That consists of large group time and open share group, separating men and women and forming accountability teams and getting to know each other, hosting dinner church to basically get more awareness and getting more participants. So phase 1, like a testing run, where we try to get feedback, smooth out the edges of the plan. When it comes to phase 2, it will be 10 to 20 participants and forming accountability partners in the teams or sponsorship. Phase 3 will be 20 plus participants. Few things for the church to be aware of when they're witnessing to individuals suffering with mental illness, substance abuse, and trauma. Try to be in their shoes. But when we're approaching someone with trauma, it is important to be sensitive and being tactful. And sometimes they couldn't accept what happened to them, and there's a lot of suppressed emotions, which requires unpacking. We cannot fix the issue, or we cannot justify what happened to them. Through God's act, it is definitely not a loving thing to do. We are not any better than them. We are in the journey building a relationship with God and perfecting our relationship with God. So our role as a church to walk alongside with them, support them, and ultimately help them recover, find comfort and love, find purpose in God, and find their own calling. So in this project, when we're focusing on trauma happening in childhood and teenage years, the reason why I want to focus on that is mainly because trauma that happens in an early age can be a deeply seated issue that could influence many parts of their life in the future. So due to these kind of experience, one tend to develop problematic behaviors, being impulsive, which has a huge correlation to substance abuse or developing mental illness. Just a little brief introduction about mental health in general. The situation about mental health in Canada is getting more severe. More people are suffering from mental illness. However, the resources to support are quite low. There's a shortage of family doctors, psychologists. At the same time, prescription medication can be quite expensive to have access to. That's why people with mental illness try to alleviate their symptoms through substance to alleviate their illnesses. Due to a large amount of substance exposed to an individual and at the same time not really alleviating their condition, their behaviors can be very destructive and tend to push family and loved ones away. So in the end of the day, they are not able to find a job and are lonely.
The second program in our action plan is for individuals who may be afflicted by the issues that were mentioned that are also experiencing homelessness. This program is a bi-weekly free dinner program for homeless/houseless members of the community where they will be able to come to the church and have a meal. The aim is to partner with the Out of the Cold program, which is a program that strives to respond in a meaningful way to the basic needs of shelter, food, and warm clothing for the less fortunate members of society. By being a part of Out of the Cold's established network, churches will be able to connect with other churches that are already running similar programs for the homeless, such as free church dinners, as well as food, clothing, and hygiene essentials donations. Churches running this program can promote this program by connecting with local shelters as well as public community centers. This program will be run by the church leadership with the help of volunteers from the congregation. The ways that church members can volunteer are through donations, either monetary or food donations, through helping prepare the dinners by cooking and or setting up, serving, and cleaning up the space where people will be having dinner, and through attending the dinners. At each dinner, there will be 2 to 3 members of the congregation whose role is just to sit and eat with the new people who will be coming to the church, with the primary purpose of establishing a welcoming environment, getting to know them, building relationships, and letting them know about other programs at the church that they may be interested in. The estimate for attendees is 10 to 15 people bi-weekly, and the estimated cost for this ministry would be $4,000 for the year.